we're here supporting today?
Leigh and Ermine. It's the story of Sophonisba Anguissola, who was actually history's first successful female artist.
Wow.
So the short film depicts the first chapter of my novel, the same title, Leigh and Ermine, and it tells the story of Sophonisba's miraculous life in the 16th century. She painted all the most illustrious personages of that time, and Michelangelo mentored her, then history forgot her. So my project and my goal is to bring her out in history with the novel and the short film and the feature film, which I'm working on next. I wrote my master's thesis at San Francisco State on her, and I also studied women artists at UC Berkeley back in the 80s when I did not learn about Sophonisba, but her history is coming out through some of the work of some of these authors, and I'm happy to participate in that movement to bring out her legacy and her story. So I'm really grateful to Burbank for selecting Leigh and Ermine and for giving Sophonisba the showcase. It's been wonderful.
So my film is called Solomon's Mood. I am the writer, executive producer, and lead actor in the film.
Where did the inspiration come from for this?
I was reading a book. A friend of mine gave me a book called Let God Write Your Love Story. And around the same time, I was introduced to the idea of writing love letters to your future person, like who you haven't met yet. And so I started kind of doing that, like as an exercise. And around the same time, I don't know why, but I was reading Song of Solomon in the Bible, and I just felt like, wow, this is really like romantic, erotic language that you don't hear a lot of, people talk about.
Yeah.
So I was kind of blending all of those things, and I was looking at movies and not really seeing what I wanted of love stories, and I just felt like, okay, this is the perfect opportunity to show love in the way that I want to see it, in a way that I'm not seeing.
What film are we here supporting this weekend?
It's my film, No But I Want To, and it's about a commitment-phobic woman who tries to commit to a date. I directed it, wrote it, and I also acted in it.
Was there a moment during production that stands out in your mind as the most magical or memorable? Or
Yes, our location was a challenge. We had a hard time finding a house to shoot in that was kind of like dreamy and magical, and last minute my producer found this house in the south of LA, and they really worked with us to get us to shoot there because of pricing and everything, and it worked out.
what film are we here supporting today?
If Only. I wrote it, produced it, directed, also acted in it. We filmed it down south, about an hour and a half south of Atlanta. It's a period piece, about 1960s, and it's horror. And one of the things I learned being down south that I didn't learn in LA, because I'm born and raised in LA, is that when integration happened, white people weren't the only ones pushing back against it. Black folks were pushing back against it as well. So this film is about a little girl who is actually played by my daughter, my biological daughter, who has a dream of seeing the folks in her community come together. But her mother pushes back against it, her father pushes back against it, the white people in the community push back against it, and the way I wrote it, I tried to suggest that the audience is even pushing back against it. So everybody from the viewer to the black people to the white people are all pushing back against it, and I all framed it in the context of horror. My favorite moment during production was when I for the first time, said action, because it was my directorial debut on a short film, so yeah.
My name is Gareth Kelly, and I'm the writer-director of Locals Only, The Big Little Pub.
Amazing. Yeah. Tell me a little bit about it.
The Big Little Pub is a short documentary film about a pub in Santa Barbara that I've been going to for the last decade, and it's just a cool place where everyone can hang out, kind of like Cheers, everyone knows your name, but it's a real diverse, eclectic mix of people, and they show a lot of soccer, and we're all English, well, not all of us, but a lot of us are English, and it's a place to watch soccer, and then, I just wanted to make a film about it because it's a really cool place, and it's tiny, it's this tiny little pub, and then when we were filming, they tried to demolish it. So there's this whole thing about like saving it as a pub, and then it's still we're still in the battle, so I might have to do a sequel. I filmed it during the European Championship soccer tournament, and England was in it, I'm English, and I filmed the first game that England played in against Scotland, and I said to my DP and what have you, I was like, the worst thing that could happen for us today is a 0-0 tie. So it was a 0-0 tie. And I said to him, if England get to the final, which we've never got to the final in my lifetime of any major tournament, then we obviously have to film it, right? So England get to the final, And so we lost. But, but that kind of made the film, it was kind of a nice journey through the film. Yeah.
Is this the first time you've been to this festival?
And the first time, yes.
Cool. And what film are we here supporting today?
I am here. I'm the writer, director, and producer for UnCredited. It's loosely based on my life behind the scenes of running a film festival while also going through IVF and trying to start a family. So it's a little bit about what it takes to go through that journey and also keep your career. What the show is really about is just about your work-life family, and you are so close with the people you work with, and when you're in those situations, they're the only ones who really understand and get what you're going through, what that experience is like, the no sleep, the waking up and working just constantly and just being on call for everything that happens and stuff. So it is the bond of the work family and what that is like working together.
Oh my goodness, I'm just feeling so much gratitude. Like, this is an amazing festival, and I got to screen in a block with other fantastic female filmmakers, and so to have females celebrated and uplifted is just phenomenal. So I'm very thankful. My film is called In Search Of, and it's a short narrative film that deals with the horrific issue of human trafficking.
And where was the inspiration for this film?
Really just trying to change the world. I mean, I know that sounds like a really big thing, but just start with dispelling some of the myths about human trafficking. A lot of people think it happens in a third world country or someone that's on the streets, versus it just happens in people's backyards. There's a lot of hot spots in California, so trying to open people's eyes so that perhaps we can start to change the story.
Yeah, it's a story that needs to be told, and so thank you for bringing that to light.
It was during the pandemic that we made it, and we had a huge team that came on board because they believed in this subject and wanted to get the message out there. So I feel very grateful for everyone that helped make it happen.
We're here for In Search Of. Leanne, who you just spoke to, we co-directed, co-wrote, co-starred, and produced it together. We actually shot this in Canada, and because things were open at the time. When we shared with people what the subject of the film was about, which is human trafficking, it was just an outpouring of resources, funds, so much kindness because of our topic. We really had a lot of gifts and challenges to get through, and we did, so it was great.
And you are with In Search Of?
I am, yes.
Amazing. What was your role in the film?
I was one of the producers and the editor. I think there's some great dramatic moments in it, so just even in terms of going through the footage, it's really a two-handers, sort of the two women facing off, and so we spent a lot of time really sort of crafting those moments, and I think that for me was something that was very special. I think just as the relationship between the detective and the person she's interrogating, the mother, developed.
What film are we here supporting today?
I'm from Dinner at the End of the World. I'm the writer and director.
Where did the inspiration come from for Dinner at the End of the World?
Partly semi-autobiographical. It's about me and my family, so I just kind of wanted to reflect that onto the screen. A lot of the conversations, a lot of the dialogue in the film is taken from things we've said at the dinner table. And I come from a Ukrainian Jewish family, and the movie's about a Ukrainian Jewish family, so it's just about representation and just seeing myself on screen, seeing my people on screen.
Sure, I love that. Was there any moment during production that stands out in your mind as the most magical or memorable, or something that was a challenge you overcame and are proud of?
Yeah, the ending of the film, if you see it, was definitely a challenge. But when we got that shot, it was insane. It was like the last shot of the day. It was the martini. We were all tired. It was really hot on set. And just getting that shot felt so good, and everyone just kind of heaved this big sigh of relief afterwards. Like we were done finally. But it turned out amazing. That's my favorite shot in the film.